You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. The Options Insider Radio Network is sponsored by Fidelity Investments. At Fidelity, you'll always get a great value for your options trades. And with powerful investing tools that provide clear next steps, plus independent research and a wide range of investment types, we can help you make better trading decisions. Learn more about options trading with Fidelity at fidelity.com/options. Options trading entails significant risk and is not appropriate for all investors. Certain complex option strategies carry additional risk. Before trading options, contact Fidelity Investments by calling 800-544-5115 to receive a copy of the characteristics and risks of standardized options. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Good morning. Today is Friday, September 21st, 2018. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is from investing.com. It's the top 5 things to know in the market on Friday. First thing to know is U.S. futures point to another record high. As surging tech stocks and fading concerns about trade pushed the Dow to a record close earlier, U.S. futures pointed to a continuation of the upward trend. Second thing to note today is U.S. private sector activity is expected to improve. Although the calendar is relatively empty, investors will still get some economic data shortly after the opening bell. IHS Markit will release its measure of U.S. manufacturing and services activity at 9:45 a.m. Eastern. Economists expect that the preliminary September manufacturing PMI rose to 55 from a month before, with the services PMI also edging up to 55. The third thing to know is the dollar struggles near a 3-month low. While waiting for data, the dollar pulled off a 3-month low hit earlier Friday. At 5:56 a.m. Eastern, the U.S. dollar index gained 0.1% at 93.56, pulling off 93.39 hit overnight, its lowest level since June 14. The index has fallen more than 1% this week, with investor flows being diverted from the greenback to other currencies, including emerging market ones, amid an ebb in U.S.-China trade war concerns. Traders already have one eye on the Federal Reserve policy meeting next week. The fourth thing to note today is oil heads higher of OPEC meeting and U.S. rig count. Oil traded higher on Friday as investors looked ahead to a meeting of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and the latest weekly measure of U.S. drilling activity. U.S. crude oil futures gained 0.65% to $70.78 by 5:57 a.m. Eastern, while Brent oil traded up 0.91% to $79.42. OPEC and its allies are scheduled to meet on Sunday in Algeria to discuss how to allocate supply increases to offset a shortage of Iran supplies due to U.S. sanctions. And the fifth thing to know today is the pound drops amid renewed fears of no-deal Brexit. The pound headed lower against the dollar on Friday, pulling away from a 2-month high, as concerns resurfaced that the UK will exit the European Union without a deal. EU leaders rejected UK Prime Minister Theresa May's plan for leaving the economic bloc and warned that time was running short. Sterling was still on track for a second consecutive weekly gain, as positive inflation and retail sales data had boosted the currency. Our second story today is from CNBC.com. Alphabet, Facebook, and Netflix are about to destroy the stock market's biggest dividend trade. One of the stock market's biggest problems is how a handful of technology stocks continue to gobble up more of the market. Tech has grown to be roughly 26% of the S&P 500, a level that worries many investors. Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon alone have consumed 4 percentage points of a $20 trillion plus equity market in less than 3 years, according to DataTrek research. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet represent an S&P 500 market weighting of 15.6%. That is greater than either the healthcare or financial sector. That's why on Monday morning, the S&P 500 is taking a crack at fixing its big tech problem. Some of the market's leading tech stocks, Alphabet, Facebook, and Netflix, are moving to a new communications sector that replicates telecom in a reshuffling of market capitalization near $3 trillion. Many investors and market strategists say the reshuffling of major tech stocks between the technology, consumer, discretionary, and communication sectors won't solve the problem of big tech's influence in the market, but it will have major implications for investors. In fact, the changes will have the biggest impact on the sector landscape in the history of the contemporary GICS sector classification system, according to State Street Global Advisors. It's very important for investors to understand how the reclassification will affect their portfolios, since the ETFs that they currently hold may no longer suit their investment objectives, said Nina Mishra, Director of ETF Research at Zacks Investment Research. Our third story today is from FinanceMagnates.com. It's titled, Again, SEC postpones decision on CBOE application to list Bitcoin ETF. The SEC has published an official statement saying it is postponing its decision on the approval of the CBOE's application to be able to trade shares of the SolidX Van Eck Bitcoin ETF, exchange-traded fund. Following initial delays, a decision was expected by September 30th. Now a decision isn't expected until February of 2019. However, proceedings to make the decision are indeed underway. Institution of such proceedings is appropriate at this time, in view of the legal and policy issues raised by the proposed rule change. An official statement by the Commission reads, Institution of proceedings does not indicate that the Commission has reached any conclusion with respect to any of the issues involved. Wow, that said absolutely nothing. The SEC also said that it is seeking public opinion and information from the public, both, in order to inform its decision, and that it had received more than 1,400 letters about the matter so far. You're doing a great job reading this. Our final story today is from MarketWatch.com. GOP congressman questions Tilray medical cannabis imports to U.S. U.S. Rep. Matt Gaetz, a Florida Republican who's spearheading a medical cannabis reform law, has questioned this week's decision to allow Canada-based Tilray Inc. to import the drug for use in clinical trial. Tilray announced early Tuesday that the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration signed off on the company's plan to import marijuana product from Canada in order to test its effectiveness in treating essential tremor. In an interview with MarketWatch on Thursday, Gaetz said that the U.S. has the opportunity to build its own cannabis industry and sees little reason to divert potential wealth to Canada. We just have to not be stupid as to impair our own progress, Gaetz said in a phone interview. There's no reason for us to be creating wealth in Canada for cannabis companies by importing Canadian weed. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, Friday, September 21st, 2018. Your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart, and have a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to the Options News Rundown. To learn more about these stories or any other developments from the world of options, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for free options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in option trader education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's live Advantage group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.